The wow moment. And I couldn't think of the bastard's name yesterday, Michael Flynn. I couldn't come up with Flynn. I think I've got a block in my head about some of these people, especially a 4-star general in the U.S. military. This son of a bitch should have every single military benefit that he's receiving now stripped from him. He's a convicted felon, even though the Orange Vomit pardoned him. I think it was the first person that Trump pardoned. But Flynn wasn't the star of the testimony on Tuesday. And he was only there via taped video testimony for just a few minutes. And yet what this son of a bitch said, this son of a bitch who wants to overthrow the government of the United States with military violence is what he wants to do, should have gotten more attention than it got. Everybody focused on the chief of staff for Mark Meadows. But here's how the testimony went. Cheney was questioning him, and during his deposition, he sat there with his lawyer. Cheney, do you believe the violence on January 6th was justified morally? Flynn, take the fifth. Cheney, do you believe the violence on January 6th was justified legally? Flynn, fifth. Cheney, do you believe in the peaceful transition of power in the United States of America? Flynn, the fifth. Holy fuck. No, Cheney didn't say that. So just to be very clear here, this rat son of a bitch, Flynn, I always saw Oliver North was a disgrace to the uniform. Flynn makes Oliver North almost look like a choir boy. But Flynn cited his right not to incriminate himself when he was asked directly whether he believes in the peaceful transition of power in the United States, which is one of the basic existential realities of the United States of America. So he refuses to answer if he believes in the principle at the heart of American democracy. And this fucker was a 4-star general. Talk about the movie 7 Days in May. Did you ever see that? You should. And he said this, even though he was the former national security advisor to the sick fuck Donald Trump. And if you stop for just a moment, plus the fact that he was a longtime member of the U.S. military. I mean, you have to be. 4-star general, come on. They don't punch those out like with a cookie cutter. So if you pause and think about what Flynn said, don't pause too long or it'll scare the hell out of you. Unless you consider what else this rat bastard has said over the past few years when he was becoming more and more identified with the psychosis that is Donald Jesus Trump. For example, this according to CNN, in June 2021, Flynn was asked a question about why the coup in Myanmar that had seen the military seize control of the government couldn't or shouldn't happen in the United States. Flynn replied, no reason. I mean, it should happen here. No reason. No reason. It should happen here. In December 2020, this rat son of a bitch seemed to entertain the possibility of martial law to keep Trump in office. On December 17th, 2020, after Trump had his ass kicked, this sick fucker Flynn said this, quote, it's not unprecedented. I mean, these people out there talking about martial law like it's something that we've never done. Martial law has been instituted 64 times. I'm not calling for that. End quote. Flynn has also suggested that COVID-19 was created as a way to steal the 2020 election. Now, the way he said that, he was on that filthy, goddamn gutter dweller InfoWars program, and Flynn told that rat bastard who, I'm not going to even say it, well, all right, Alex Jones, but this was last January. Flynn said, quote, "So let's introduce something called COVID," and they did it, end quote. And it was done to steal the 2020 election from Jesus fucking Trump, right? In December 2017, he pled guilty to lying to the FBI about his contacts with the Russians. And he became a cooperating witness in Robert Mueller's investigation of Russian meddling in the 2016 election. And he eventually tried to take back his guilty plea. He broke off cooperation with Robert Mueller, and at the end of Trump's term, he got a broad pardon. So it is very revealing that this son of a bitch, this traitor, this treasonous fuck, Mike Flynn, pled the fifth, would ask whether he believed in a peaceful transfer of power, because he doesn't. He does not. I don't give a fuck if he pled the 5th or the 25th. He could have answered, "Do you believe in the peaceful transition of power in this country?" Yes. No. But this cowardly piece of shit said 5th. That's one thing that all these radical right-wingers share. They're a bunch of goddamn pissy little cowards that make anonymous death threats and send shitty emails and terrible postings on social media. And when given a chance to state categorically that they support a foundational belief in the United States, this fucker, Mike Flynn, retreats like the little slimy fascist that he is. The 5th, I'll plead the 5th. You bastard. Oh. Speaking of bastards, well, I guess I better say bitches. The super bitch, Ginny Thomas, old Uncle Clarence Thomas's old lady. Do you remember on the middle of this month, June, this psychotic fascist Ginny Thomas said she was eager to speak with the House of Representatives panel investigating the 2021 assault. She told the Daily Caller, "I can't wait to clear up misconceptions." So that very day, the committee sent her an invitation. Well, I'm sure you could figure out what happened next. One of Ginny's lawyers is casting a great bit of doubt on whether or not this bitch will show up before the January 6th committee. This lawyer, Mark Paoletta, asked, "Well, what do you want from my client? What do you want? What do you want?" In a letter on Tuesday, Mark Paoletta told the committee, quote, "I do not understand the need to speak with Ms. Thomas," end quote. And he said, quote, "Before I can recommend that she meet with you, I'm asking the committee to provide a better justification for why Mrs. Thomas's testimony is relevant to the committee's legislative purpose," end quote. Well, I can think of a bunch. First of all, her involvement in the January 6th murder riot and the attempt to overthrow the government, which this bitch is in up to her fucking large chin. She attended the rally by the Orange Vomit before his supporters stormed the Capitol to kill people. Fuck you, Ginny Thomas. And your lawyer, and your lump of a husband. God damn you people. The Washington Post Sorry for that little outburst, but I just get furious with these smug, filthy, rotten defilers of this Christian cult religion. It just makes me furious. The Washington Post had reported that the committee obtained emails between this bitch and John Eastman, the Nazi fuck from the University of Chicago, who also wanted to overthrow the government. And Eastman advised Trump, of course, that Pence could do that, could nullify the certification of Trump's laws. And if you remember, this bitch's husband, Clarence Thomas, was the lone dissenting voice when the court rejected Trump's request to block release of White House records sought by the committee. Kind of like when the bastard son of a bitch Dick Nixon tried to prevent the Watergate committee from getting his tapes from the Oval Office. Now, the attorney who's representing this bitch said that the bitch had no role in the January 6th attack and never discussed election litigation strategy with Eastman. Oh, whatever gave you that idea? My client is as white and pure as the wind-driven snow. He means that literally. He also, Paoletta did, dismissed the committee's interest in text messages following America's rejection of the orange vomit. Text messages between Ginny and Mark Meadows. And Paoletta, being the Nazi that he is, in his letter to the committee, and the letter was verified by Reuters news agency, they saw it, but he wrote, quote, "These texts are simply much ado about nothing," end quote. So this pale-faced bitch who says, "I can't wait to clear up misconceptions," is another traitorous scum bastard like Mike Flynn. These fuckers are everywhere. Have you noticed this? They're everywhere. These Christian Nazis, these murderous son of a bitches who are just waiting for the streets to run thick with blood. Jeez. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com. And never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.